to Mech Tech with Mr. Sullivan. Today we're going to continue the house series with house number 4. So what we're going to do first, like always, we're going to change the name. In this case, it's going to be your name, house 4. And then we are going to get started a little differently. Instead of making the body of the house first, we're going to make the windows of the house first. Okay? So the way that we're going to do that is we're going to go down, we're going to grab a polygon, and then we're going to rotate it 90 degrees, and then make sure that it is resized 20 by 20 by 20. Alright? So it's going to be resized a little differently than how it originally started, but you want to make sure that you grab that polygon. Alright? That's going to be the body of the window. Now we need to add a top and a bottom to it. So we're going to grab the pyramid, change the number of sides to 6, and then we're going to rotate it clockwise 60 degrees. Oh, I'm sorry. We'll rotate it counterclockwise 45 degrees. And then lower that top piece down to 10. So from here we want to make sure that it is 20 by 20 by 10. So it'll look like that. Then you go and you duplicate it. Slide that over. This is where we're going to use a new tool. Okay, we're going to go up here. We're going to use the mirror tool. Click on that and see how it gives you these arrows. This is so you can flip it along the x-axis, y-axis, or z-axis. We're going to flip it on the z-axis because that is now going to become the body, or the bottom of the body of the window. Okay. So once we have everything set up like that, we're going to take the blue polygon, get it close over here, and then we're going to lift it up on the z-axis to where it is sitting right on top. Let's zoom in. So it's sitting right on top of that pyramid that we just flipped upside down. And then we're going to do the same thing for this one. Move it over, bring it up until it is sitting right on top. We're going to grab all three, shapes 3. We're going to align them along the X and the Y axis. Then we're going to change the color while we're here. And then we are going to group it. And there is what will be the framing for your window. So once we get that done, we're going to duplicate it and then take that and set it off to the side. We're not going to use that again for a little while. Okay? So now that you have this done, we're going to go up here. We're going to grab a hold box. And from here, we're going to change the size of it. Okay? So we're going to go to 8 by 30 by 18. We're going to slide that over into the body of the window right here. We're not going to worry about bringing it up at all yet. We'll do that here in a second. But we just wanted to slide it over. And then we're going to duplicate it. And we're going to rotate it. Okay. So when we rotate this, this is where that 60 degrees comes in that I mentioned earlier. We're going to rotate it 60 degrees. And then we're going to grab that center box again, duplicate it, and then rotate it the other direction 60 degrees. I'll get to 60. There we go. Highlight all of them. We're going to align them on the X, the Y, and the Z. It brings them all up. They are all now centered right on your windows. And then, you have probably guessed, we're going to group. And it will cut them all out. Kind of cool. Now this is where this will come back into play. So we're going to make this to where it has glass inside of it. So we're going to change the color, turn this one into blue or whatever color you want. Then we're going to resize it. So we're going to shrink it by 2 millimeters on all 3 axes. Okay? So it's going to go to 18 by 18 by 38. Okay? So it's just a slightly smaller than this one. The reason why we do that is because when we select both, we're going to align them on the X, the Y, and the Z. And then when we group, it'll change it. Remember, you go and click multicolor. And there is your bay window. Kind of cool, huh? So from here, we're going to take that, we're going to grab it, we're going to duplicate it, slide that over about 25 millimeters, then we're going to duplicate and duplicate. Okay? Then we're going to take this, grab all 4, we're going to group them, then we're going to duplicate them and slide those ones out. Okay, so you should have 2 sets of 4 windows. Alright, the reason why we do that is because we're going to make a 2-story house, and we're going to have 2 windows on the bottom, 4 windows on the top, which means we're going to delete out 2 of these windows to put in our door, and I'll show you how to do that here in a sec. First, we need to create the body of our house. So you go grab a box. You're going to resize that box to be wider than the windows, so I'm going to go 130, and then I'm going to bring it out to where it doesn't look super skinny. So let's go 130 by 70. Let's change that to 70. Okay, I'm going to change the color because I want it to match the framing on, or be close to the framing for the window. Okay. I'm going to take my first set of windows, I'm going to set them back into the house. Let's zoom in on those. And let's move them in just a little bit more to where that seam right here is nice and lined up with the house. Get it as close as you can. Okay. And then we are going to grab both. And let's make sure that they're centered. Okay. There we go. Alright. Now the fun part. We need to make sure that our house is tall enough, so we're going to move that second set of windows in and move it up to where they're just above the first set of windows. And then we're going to take our house, we're going to make it taller, like that. Okay, so again, you can grab all of it, just to make sure that everything's nice and centered. There we go. You're only going to center it on the x-axis. Once you're done there, then you're going to grab the lower section, you're going to ungroup it, click off of it so you can select one window at a time and delete the center 2 windows. So this is what it should look like when you're done. Go ahead and grab all of it again, and go ahead and group it together. Okay? So no matter where you click on it, you're not going to move anything without moving all of it at once. Okay? So now that you have that done, we are going to go grab the roof. Okay, we're going to rotate the roof 90 degrees. Extend that out. Our house is 130, so we want our roof to be about 136 to 140. Anywhere in that range is completely fine. And then we also made it 70. So we're going to extend that out to anywhere between 75 to 80, depending on how much overhang you want. Okay? And then we know that our house is 89. So we're going to grab this and move it up to 89. That'll put it right in line with the top of the house. Okay? Then we do what we would normally do. We center it on the X, center it on the Y, and because we have those windows sticking out, we're going to have to resize this a little bit more. Okay? Because our house is now 80 instead of the 70 because these are sticking out 10 from the body of the house. So if you want that big overhang, you can have it. If not, just adjust this guy back a little bit, like that. Okay? And then of course, you can change the color of your roof. I don't particularly want a green roof, so let's go gray. Oops. Clicked on the wrong thing. There we go. And then we will group it so we can kind of move it around. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to make a front porch. So we're going to go grab a box. We're going to shrink that box. Let's zoom in on it here. A little too much. Shrink that box down to 2 on the Z-axis. And then we want it to be relatively close in line here. And relatively close in line here. A little too far. So let's go 50. Okay. And then we're going to bring this out a little bit to 45. Okay. We're going to change the color of it. A little too dark. There we go. Oh, that blends with the house. There we go. Okay, so we changed the color of it. We're going to grab everything. We're going to make sure it's centered. It is. And then we are going to group. Alright, that way we can't accidentally move it. So this is going to be like the patio area off the front of the house. So now we need to make a roof for this because we want it to be covered. Okay? But we got to make the columns first. So let's go 3 by 3 by 3. So that might be a little too small. Let's try 6 by 6 by 6. That's better. We're going to zoom in so it's a little bit easier to move around. We're going to take it, we're going to line it up right there on the corner, like that. And then we're going to bump it down 1 and to the left 1. So it's slightly sticking out of the corner. Okay? And then we're going to change the color to white. And then we're going to go grab a cylinder. Take the sides to 64. We're going to change that down to 6 by 6. And then we'll leave it at the 20 for now. And we're going to take that, we're going to slide that over and get want to select the box and the cylinder. We're going to align those. So you have a column. Should we shrink down? I think we should shrink down that cylinder just a little bit. So let's go 5 by 5. Just to give a little bit more definition between the two. So again, we'll select both objects. We'll center them. I like that look better. And then we're going to change the color of the column to white. Okay. Select both. Group. Okay, now that those are grouped, we need to bump it back out 1 so we have that definition between here. We have that definition between here. Then we're going to duplicate it. And we're going to slide that over to the other side. So it looks like that. Okay, so what you can do now is you can hold Shift, select both columns, group those two together. That way you can adjust them at the same time. Okay, because eventually we'll want to make them taller, shorter. We'll want to be able to adjust those to match the roof that we're getting ready to put on. So we're going to grab a roof. We're going to change it to where it matches our other roof. And then we made this patio 50, right? So we're going to take this. We're going to go out a little bit wider. We're going to go to 55. We're going to slide that back in here. And we're going to bring this out where it just past, like this, past those columns. Alright? Once you get that done, we're going to bring it up. And we want to bring it up to where it's just below the bottom of those windows. Okay? If you bring it up a little bit more and it's touching the windows, that's completely fine as well. Alright? So in this case, I brought it up 38, which is completely fine. Let's go 38. Alright? Then we want to we don't want to move the whole column, we want to make these columns taller. And you want to bring those up to 38. Alright? So with the column selected, you want to select the house and the roof, so all three objects, and then you will want to align it on the x-axis. So everything will be nice and centered. And then of course, group it so you don't move anything. So far, there's our house. Okay? The only thing we are missing is our nice big double front door. Okay? So for making the front door, it's going to be very similar to the way that we've made it in the past, where you grab a box, shrink it down to about 7, 8. In this case, we're going to make it about 36 tall, 20 wide, and that will be one door. Okay? And then we'll go another one right next to it to make it the other door. So for right now, we're just going to duplicate this one. We're going to move that off to the side. Okay. Now I'm going to take this. I'll take this one. I'm going to turn it into a hole. We're going to shrink it down by 2. So it's going to be 18 by 34. And then we're going to make it thicker. Okay. Then we want to align these, X, Y, and then we will, before we do that, I want to duplicate that again, bring that out, change it back into a solid. Okay, because we'll use that to make the actual door for the front of the house. Okay, so right now with this, we're going to make the door frame. Group it so it hollows it out. Then we're going to duplicate it. Zoom in on it. And then we're going to move it over to where it is. Hopefully, we can get these two aligned like that. And then we'll group them together. So we'll go over here, click group. There is your front door. Okay? Or at least the frame for your front door. So we'll get that. Now we need to make our actual front door. So for this one, I'm going to show you a trick. It's going to make it really easy. Okay? So we already know that we have this. Overall is 39 by 36. So we're going to take this and we're going to take it all the way out to 37. Okay? That way it's twice as wide as one of these openings. And then we're going to shrink this down. We had it at 7, so let's go to 6. Okay? Change the color. Go with black front door, why not? Grab both of these, align them on the X and Y, and there is your front door, minus a doorknob. We need to add a couple of those. So we'll grab this, we'll shrink this down to 7 by 7 by 7. Change the color. Bring that over. Duplicate it because we want to put it on both sides. And then use the arrow keys to kind of line it up where it looks like it is about the same. I think that looks good right there. Grab all 4 objects, group them, multicolor. There's your front door. Now all you got left to do, rotate it 90 degrees, hit that D button on your keyboard, and it will pop it up. Then, move it over to your house, get it to where it's set where you like it, to where it's barely sticking out of the house. Grab both, align, we want to make sure it's nice and centered, and then you will group it, and there is your house number 4. Kind of a cool estate style house. Hopefully you guys learned something, and good luck.